Hi everybody, I'm Dr. John Douillard. Welcome to LifeSpa.com, and today I want to invite you all to take my free training. It's called The Critical Strategy of How to Detox the Body Naturally. It's a really cool training. There's 4 about hour-long videos that we launch on March 1st. And every week after that for 4 weeks, you're going to get a brand new free video training. It gives you a whole week to watch it and catch up and everything. And it's all about how the body is designed to naturally detoxify. The first video, for example, is all about the skin and how important the skin is. Not just this skin, because this skin is based on the inner skin, the epithelium that lines your respiratory tract, your sinuses, your gut, and how if the environment isn't just right, if it's too dry from winter or too wet from spring, you're going to get the wrong bugs and opportunistic bacteria that will take advantage of that imbalance and create inflammation and create real problems. Because if the skin breaks down, the lymph on the other side of that skin, called the skin-associated lymph, the respiratory-associated lymph, the gut-associated lymph, all that lymph begins to break down and become congested because the skin is not doing their job. So everything kind of connects. If your health of the environment is good in your intestinal respiratory tract, then the lymph can do its job. But if that gets congested, the lymph takes the brunt of that and becomes congested. Then your lymph can't really do its job, which is deliver fats as fuel for every cell of the body to get rid of the trash and carry your immune system, right? So those are really all important things. So that's what the first video is going to be all about, your whole lymphatic system, which most people don't know much about, but Ayurveda was all about the lymph because it's the drains, the trash removal system in your body. And if you can't get the trash out, it's not going to be good. If you didn't take your trash out for a month in your house, it's just not going to be good, right? So that's the same thing with the body. Ayurveda tuned into that, and they designed therapies and a deep understanding of how to support the lymphatic system and the intestinal skin, which is so important and so delicate that it has to be just right to keep the right bugs in your gut. And they change seasonally. So your environment changes seasonally, which is also the beauty because we're connected to nature. That's the whole connection thing that we should have. Our biological clocks need to be in sync with the circadian rhythms of nature, the light-dark cycles. And that's a lot due to the bugs we get from the soil, which are like totally connected to the rhythms. We put them in our body, and they impart the rhythms into our gut, and our microbes are entrained to these new spring rhythms based on the foods we eat that carry light, like infrared light, that carry microbes that are all carrying these circadian rhythms. Even the bugs have melatonin, even the bugs have circadian rhythms, little tiny invisible bugs. The next video, which comes on March 8th, a week later, is going to be all about your liver and your gallbladder. And I got to tell you, and how you can handle and do this and detoxify yourself. Herbs, foods, diet, routines to get your liver and gallbladder cleaned out. If your liver isn't functioning well, and particularly your gallbladder, or if you don't have a gallbladder, it means your liver has to make bile on demand. So it's all the same, really. You have to fix the cause. Taking the gallbladder out doesn't always fix the problem. It oftentimes leaves you with still congested or compromised bile flow. And bile is like a Pac-Man that gobbles up toxins in your liver and cleans all your villi out of your intestinal tract, keeps your intestinal filter healthy and clean, right? So if that's not healthy and clean, you're gonna have problems, right? But the bile is also a natural buffer for the stomach acid. So there's a massive coordination between your stomach making acid and your liver making bile to buffer that acid. So if you're not making the buffer to neutralize that acid, your stomach is either going to hold on to the acid, give you heartburn, or eventually stop making the acid, which means you're not going to be able to digest things like wheat and dairy and nuts and seeds and grains and legumes and beans and lectins, right? This is what everybody's saying. Those are the toxic bad foods. Don't eat them. The reality is those foods are actually hormetic. They're important for us because they trigger an immune response. They irritate us just enough to create what we call gut immunity. If you didn't have that irritation, when people go gluten-free and dairy-free and everything free, we're seeing that the immune system starts to become compromised. So those harder to digest foods, guess what? They're really important. They're the reason why we have gut immunity. So this is what I talk about in this next video, which is to me like so critically important, and how to amp up your liver gallbladder strength, which is important. The next video comes out on March 12th, and that's all about your upper digestive fire. How do you turn on your digestive fire? Herbs, foods, and ways to do that. Because if your stomach acid isn't just right, bad things are going to happen. That's your first line of defense. If you're eating foods that have who knows what bug on it, because you don't know, and you're eating something with a pathogen on it, the stomach acid is going to protect you. But if you have lack of good bile flow and your stomach turned down the acid because there's nobody there to put the fire out downstream, your stomach's going to let that, whatever it is, go undigested into your intestinal tract. Those proteins, those fats that weren't properly broken down, the science shows they're too big to be absorbed into your blood. Where do they go? Into the garbage can, into your lymphatic system, and that creates belly fat, skin rashes, swelling, puffiness around your body, under your eyes, skin issues, brain fog, food comas, allergies, fatigue, lethargy. It's crazy, but that's what happens, and it's easy to fix when you know and understand how it's all working. And then the final one is on March 15th, that's the last one, and that is all about stress and your crazy mind, which is usually the one causing most of the problems, right? Because we all know it's this crazy mind of ours that we process our stress in a oftentimes not wonderful way, and that impacts our gut, and it's bidirectional, right? The gut bugs alter, and then they send altered messages to our brain, and now the whole body goes, holy cow, this is an emergency. Now we send fight or flight emergency messages to every cell in the body, and emergencies are fine, but they're not to be lived every day of your life. And that's the problem, is most of us have a cellular response to life as an emergency, and we got to go in there and tell the body the war's over, cell by cell. And that's what we're going to talk about in this free video training. Go to my website at lifespa.com. It's right on the homepage now. You sign up for it, and you'll get the first video on March 1st. And it's called The Critical Strategy, the Critical Strategy of How to Detox Your Body Naturally. So please join us for that. It's a super awesome video series, about an hour long each, and you get one every week, so you have plenty of time to watch it and kind of tune in and really get the knowledge. And so anyway, I hope you enjoy it, and we will see you all next week. Thanks for listening. I'm Dr. John Douillard.